dedicated knowledge and expertise to hundreds of families and homes. They have made significant contributions to our quality of life, and we are honored to offer recognition and support. Therefore, I, Bill Cedar Jr., the Mayor of the City of St. Clair, on behalf of the City Council and the citizens of St. Clair, honor St. Clair Landscape and Irrigation for their commitment and dedication to the beautification of the community. And in witness hereof, I do hereby set my hand and cause the corporate seal of the City of St. Clair be affixed to your two on this 15th day of June, 2024. Matt, Dan, you guys want to take a little walk up here? Mm-hmm.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
Congrats.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Where I go? Or do I just yell? I'm not the greatest at yelling. So those that came down on Saturday, it turned out really better than I could have hoped. The weather was great. I was able to say a couple things after the mayor spoke, and actually I got kind of put on the spot by the band. The St. Clair Nursery has a lot of history, and there were a lot of cool old photos down there that we were actually able to retrieve, and it was really neat kind of learning a little bit more about the history and how in this little town of St. Clair, how it's lasted 100 years, and that's kind of a neat honor. As a matter of fact, you know, kind of conversation is the city of Marysville is 100 years old, so if that puts any attest to how long St. Clair Nursery's been around, and only 5 owners. So it's, I am very honored, and thank you to the city for this. This is unexpected, but I really do appreciate it, so thank you.
Thank you, Matt.
When he says 5 owners, keep in mind that's only 2 families, though. 2 families have owned it in 100 years. So, and thank you, everybody, for your support.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Matt.
Very cool.
All right, we will go to number 6, reports administration, Mr. Bishop.
I have 4 things I'd like to touch on this evening. One is just a quick update on Range and Yankee Road. The water main, minus the hydrants, is underway and has been completed, and those hydrants are going to be done by Wednesday, and so that's just a section of the water main project at Range and Yankee Road, and that should be finalized here in the next couple weeks, making way for the roundabout construction to start. One thing we continue to speak on is communication with the school district, making sure that Superintendent Saibula, the bus drivers, the principals, they understand of the road construction and what that's going to cause. You know, for the summer, there's summer camps or outings and things, but it will stretch into the new school year. You know, we're already looking ahead into the fall. It will cause some delays and detours, and so we're doing everything in our power to communicate those things early and making sure that the contractors communicate with the school. So that's just one less inconvenience for our families and whatnot getting to and from the middle school. We'd like to talk about the bike path briefly. Body Construction is deploying the rest of the roadwork signs. We will start seeing machinery being brought into town this week, and for them to continue on as the path that we had discussed before. This Wednesday, the St. Clair LDFA, this is the property for the industrial park, they are meeting in, Fishback is traveling to Lapeer to give them a complete update on where we are with the water main, the booster station, and the water tower. And what they're going to be providing is the survey, the landscape, actually where these things are going to be placed, and explaining to the LDFA. Why they're traveling to Lapeer is that many people may not realize that the LDFA is part of a 40-member community group. And so there's jurisdictions that stretch over 4 counties. And the 4 counties actually make decisions based on all the LDFA as part of this larger group. So our executive board does have representation from St. Clair County. They will be present. The city of St. Clair will also have representation there, and it's simply an update on where we are, where we're going, and what we hope to do here in the next few months. Construction, I'm going to skip now over to the water treatment plant. Construction is well underway. You've seen on M29, no doubt, is pretty cool. If you haven't seen it before, if you ever try to figure out how you put a footing 80 feet in the ground, you know, you go look at these engineers. I mean, it looks like an auger, like, oh, everybody's auged out some ice from a lake before and thought, wow, that's a deep hole. You've not seen a deep hole until it's 80 feet straight in the ground, and then they pump concrete down it, and then they pull the plug, and then the concrete spreads and adds a nice base. It's cool. It's cool. The engineering behind it's cool. The machinery's behind it cool. And the professionals who are working this equipment, they know what they're doing. They're not wasting time. These guys are quick on their feet, and it's just something to see. It is absolutely something to see. But that is well underway right now. Waste Construction is making good pace on the water treatment plant. Fishbeck is our contract administrators. We have no injuries on the job so far, which is a blessing. Nobody's getting hurt. Everybody's being safe, and they're moving at a really good pace. And so hopefully you keep up that good work through the duration of the project. The last thing I want to touch on, I haven't mentioned it before. I have some excellent news to share. We have lobbied and lobbied and lobbied, and I know that our Congresswoman McLean, and I know Senator Peters and Senator Stabenow, they're absolutely tired of our phone calls. They're absolutely tired of our emails. They are just absolutely tired. When the representatives come here and they say, what do you need? What do you need? We are literally, I hate to say it, like we hold them captive. Like I put them in the truck and we drive out to the sites. I put their boots on the ground and say, this is what we're trying to accomplish. This is how we're trying to grow the city, and in this way. But it costs an incredible amount of money, and we do not want to look at any additional, pressure on the local residents. We want to find all monies possible to offset some costs, and we want to make sure we're eligible. We just got a letter, an email from Senator Peters' office. We have made it through the first round. I'm sharing with you for the first time tonight. We've got through a $700,000 grant, has got it through committee, that's going to help offset the cost for our water infrastructure projects. Awesome. So I was $750,000 to the good, and so we'll be able to reevaluate. We'll be able to look at our fiscal exposure, and we're going to reduce it by $700,000. It's a really big deal. It's a big deal that we can do that, and it's a total team effort. Anytime anybody calls the office, we are in constant communication with each other. Anytime that there's a need, a want, a document, whatever the case may be, all hands are on deck, and we work as a complete team to get that done. So hats off to the team at the office for pulling that one off, because $700,000 is going to go a long way. Okay?
Good job.
That is what I have to share this evening.
Any
Question,
questions?
please. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, you got questions?
On the roundabout, when that starts, is north-south traffic completely shut off until it's done?
No, they will have access, but they're going to be swapping lanes,
Okay.
right? It will not be two-way once they start, but they're going to keep a lane open. At some point, especially when they're doing the median, right in the middle of the intersection, that's going to be shut off completely. They'll probably kick them off on Cuddle, detour them up to M29, and then those folks who are coming up Range Road, they're not going to be able to get around like they would. They probably could take Christian B. Haas up north, kind of run parallel with Range,
Right.
but then take a right out of town back to M29.
Anything else, Mr. Bishop? City Attorney, got anything?
Nothing this evening, Your Honor.
Anything from Mr. Downey? Annette, you have something over there for us?
Yes, the state primary election is Tuesday, August 6th. Early voting will be here at City Hall, July 27th through August 4th, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., and absent voter ballot applications are now available. Thank you.
Any other departments? Go to D, authorities, boards, commissions, anybody have anything? No unfinished business, we'll go to 8, new business. A, schedule budget workshops. Mr. Bishop.
I would like to propose that our budget workshops are scheduled for the first and second meeting in July. These would be July 1st and 15th. We're coming to the Chamber Hall anyway for those dates, but I'd like to schedule those from 6 to 7 o'clock. By that time, I fully anticipate on having 3/4 of the department head meetings completed. Definitely by the 15th, we'll have it punched out. We'll have all the department heads will have been met with. We'll also have a capital improvement plan that'll be ready to go. And this week, I'm sending out the notice to all department heads about any fees and their fee schedules. If there's going to be any fluctuations on any department that charges fees for their programming, we'll have updates on that as well. So the proposal is, if you would accept it, that we meet from 6 to 7 p.m. on both July 1st and July 15th.
Would you like a motion to that effect? I'll take a motion to that effect.
So moved.
Supported. Questions? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? B, Approved county contract for assessing services, Mr. Bishop.
What you have in front of you are two documents. The first one was an agreement for assessing and reinspection services between the county of St. Clair and the city of St. Clair. And in the first document you'll see that when our longtime city assessor, I believe Miss Lynn Houston, she retired in 2019, and in that year, we had contracted with the county to provide assessment services. At that time, assessment services as well as a reinspection of all parcels found within the city of St. Clair were reassessed. And so 5 years later, we are due to either renew or have a different type of discussion. What I want to highlight, because people want to know, what's the agreement? In 2019, the agreement was for a total per year $55,038 to provide for these services. They were paid out quarterly and due on the 15th of each month. Okay? That's where we're starting from. And that price stayed consistent with no increases or inflation over the last 5 years. The proposal that the county has sent to us includes another 5-year plan, but for compensation for services, they have increased the amount, and they're asking, as you see it laid out here in the outline, year one, $68,712, and then a 2% escalator per year for the next 5 years. So for the difference of from year one, $68,712, the last year in year 5, this would be in 2029, the price would be $74,374, each paid on a quarterly payment. The question before us is a continuation of assessing services from the county, from St. Clair County, to perform those services for the city.
Do you have anybody in mind if we were to hire one ourselves, or?
No, in a previous role, I had to perform the same thing. We had to find assessing services. And so unless you hire somebody for assessing services as a company, because they have to have a proper certification, levels 1, 2, 3, and 4, for a city our size, we need to have an assessor with an advanced certificate. So typically what would happen is you need to find that person in the market, or you need to hire out as a contractual service. The individuals more than likely, I have not found anyone actually to step up, but then again, we have not advertised for a position. We have just been in this contract for 5 years. So to answer your question, two options: contractual services or hire an employee to do such, which is required, and they must have the correct certifications to do so at the time of hire. It's not one of those things where you can learn on the job and then earn those certifications.
So, do you know, or are the majority of the communities within the county going this route, or is it some of the larger cities have their own people, or?
It's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag throughout the entire county. Some can contract out, and some people have one outfit may do multiple communities. I am not sure about the county's, Rolodex and how many contracts they have under themselves right now. I don't know that. I do know of a very local community that is looking for an assessor, and if not found, will be hiring out contractual services because they have a pending retirement for an assessor. I can say this: for a certified assessor to come in and do the work full time for the city, because it's a full time position, for us will be at least this amount, and then you add fringes, and then you add the benefits. We're well over that amount.
Yeah.
Okay.
So the rate that they're providing us, is that based on population size? So
Yes.
But Port Huron and Marysville would pay more than we would, and Marine City less, or?
It's a combination of two things. It's per population and number of parcels. So we have like 2,684 parcels or thereabout, and so you take that, and there is a fee attached to each individual parcel. But then you have to consider, okay, what do those parcels represent? Because as an assessor, you're looking at residential, industrial, commercial, and each one of those have a different type of report that you need to submit. So As a whole, we just have north of 2,500 separate parcels that need to be assessed on a yearly basis.
So by the time we add the fringe benefits, it's cheaper to go with the county.
Correct.
Yeah.
Without going to the market and without putting out a posting and then interviewing somebody and saying, okay, we're going to start at the contract amount and then have them tell us no or tell them yes. I know what we had hired in a previous community, and it's not close to the county. Just because economies of scale, they're allowed to do that because of their size. We're in need of one. Our contract is due by the end of this month. Now, could we get an extension? I'm sure we could, if we needed to table this and move this on. And I'm sure Justin Sears could come and explain in more detail if you'd like. But as it sets right now, it's a modest increase on what was stuck on a rate for $55,000, and the only new addition in terms of compensation is a 2% escalator per year for the next 5 years.
It's a modest increase after we accept this, but it's a 24% increase.
Total.
Yeah, that's a lot of money.
24% over last year.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. When you look at in 2019, the largest difference was that they charged us half rate for what they would normally charge if it was just an assessment, but because there was a reinspection, they reduced the amount that they charged per parcel to be assessed because we added on reinspection, meaning that they reinspected every single parcel to make sure that they're in line. Whatever that took was, we accepted that proposal by them reducing the amount of actual appraisal fees per parcel. Now, we're not doing the reinspection, and so they're charging full rate on what they would have charged for assessments per parcel.
Okay. And how much do we have annually in extras? I mean, I see that there's a $90 per hour preparation, appearance, travel for appeals and for special assessments. Does that go well beyond?
No, we don't really touch that. The board of review is held right here in this chamber. There's no travel time for conferences. There's no travel time. The most travel that our assessor would do is if she was called to Lansing on a special case, or if she was called before a hearing that she would need to go and travel for on our behalf. But no.
Okay, just want to be aware of how much that was.
Yeah, this is something that you're looking to vote on this evening, or you said you can get an extension?
It's a discussion. Yep, it's a discussion item. If we need to have Justin Sears come in, he would make himself available for that.
Because we've got some other things coming up with discussion on disconnects and, I mean, we've got other, closed session will address some issues.
This is fine. Justin Sears is very willing to come in and explain exactly in greater detail what the proposal is, what it comes with and what it doesn't come with.
Right.
So if that's the direction of the board, I can communicate with Justin. That's not a problem, and have him come in.
I think that's wise. Table it.
Okay.
Do you need a motion to table or no?
Yes, please.
I'd like to make that motion.
Motion made to table, is it supported?
I'll support it.
All right, the motion to table has been supported. Questions?
Bill Clayman, 1374 South Riverside. Our assessor's here one day a week, am I correct?
Correct.
7 hours a day?
8 hours, yes.
Pardon me?
Yes, all day.
Well, the hours say from 9 to 4. To me, that's 7 hours a day on the website. Assessor's office hours are from 9 to 4. To me, that's 7 hours. So roughly 360 hours a week. I mean, how much time does the county got any, you got any educated guess how much time she actually spends on city work? Other than her 7 hours a day?
No, in terms of what she does at her office when she's at the county versus her being present at our office, I don't know how much exact time she's using at the county office.
Could you get a estimated hour
Oh,
how
sure.
much time she's spending actually on the city of St. Clair?
Sure.
I guess my question is, what are you getting for $74,000 a year?
A highly trained
other than 7 hours a day?
I know, but it's a little bit of a loaded question, Bill, because we're taking that and saying, for 7 hours, anybody could walk in and do that job, and what are we actually getting?
No, it's 7 hours, she's here to answer questions, correct?
No, she's not.
She's here to do her work.
She is
So my
100%
question is,
on the screen working.
How much time is she spending on city assessing out of the office in Port Orange?
Yep, I can get that. I can get that. I can get that for you. Not a problem.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I mean, another question is, we're buying a service, not an individual, correct? So it's a team of people operating on behalf of $74,000, not one individual, correct?
Correct.
Or incorrect?
Correct. There were two separate tax assessing situations that came up in this past year, and it was something that I needed to escalate to Justin Sears as the Director of Equalization, and his time was made available to us. Not only that, he came to the City Hall to sit down and to answer the questions and to work through those problems. So you're buying a service. We're paying for a contractual service, which includes a team of people, not a singular person.
Correct. That's my assumption is
Correct.
there's more than one person working on our stuff.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
You're
But
welcome.
it does kind of make you wonder, though. I mean, we have a person who we were paying $55,000 a year. They retired, and then we now are paying them, starting off at 68 for 7 hours a week. I never thought of it like that. Are they just spending that 7 to 8 hours a week on St. Clair, and then their other 32 hours are with different cities?
No,
How does that work?
Sure. I don't know her or the assessor's exact schedule, but I do know that she does not have a community per day that she works on. So the time that she's not obligated to be here and answer questions FaceTime with us, she's either at her not home office, but her county office,
Right.
working on issues, working on our studies, working on our reports, communicating with our treasurer about taxing situations.
So she's not working with other cities?
No, she is. I just can't tell you that she's working. I can't tell you that out of a 5-day work week, we have one and she has 4 other communities and every day she's working. I do know she's working in the county building in that office when she's not working here. And when I've called and emailed on the off day, it's not like I'll talk to you Thursday when I see you in the office. It's how can I answer your question? What are we working on? And then we work on those details.
So I guess my question is, would it be unreasonable to assume that maybe instead of them working 40 hours a week with St. Clair, they're working 15 to 20 hours a week?
I wouldn't assume that at all.
No?
I wouldn't assume that at all because
Because I'm thinking, why couldn't you go with a part-time person that maybe has experience that would be interested in that? Just a thought.
it's a thought. Part-time people who have assessor certifications don't work part-time, generally speaking. They're working for an assessing company or they're working for an organization that does this. Now, whether they work for them part-time or full-time or what their contract says,
Right.
I don't know. But, I mean,
Because I always
to
thought
Bill's-
that they were with us exclusively, but they really aren't.
No. No.
All right, so the motion made to table, and we'll get Justin Sears down here. Call the roll, please.
Scott,
No.
Can you restate what we're voting on?
We're tabling it.
Oh, we're going to table it. If we're
table,
tabling
yes.
it. Yes, I would like to table it.
Thank you.
Stotler,
Yes.
Koopa,
Yes.
Laporte,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Volk,
Yes.
Cedar.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. All right, C, recommendation planning commission traffic study.
Sure. On Wednesday, June 12th, 2024, at 7 p.m., Planning Commission met in these chambers. It appears that all members were present. Oh, no, they excused Chairman Byers and was supported by Ms. Boda. One of the items that was made motion by Mr. Kinsfater was to direct the council, our council, to pursue a traffic study on Kearney Drive. This was supported by Ms. Boda, and all were in favor and none opposed. What's brought before us is a recommendation for the Planning Commission to move forward with conducting that traffic study.
That's for Kearney Drive, correct?
Correct.
What's all involved with the traffic study?
It's a good question. I don't know all the details, exactly what's involved, but I do know they do traffic counts, trying to get an idea of how many cars travel on one road per day. They're also going to measure speeds, average speeds, and then doing that, I think maybe somebody might make a play at increasing or decreasing the speed. But when the traffic study comes out and the results that you have, those are the results. And
I think the major concern is the future development, Kearney.
Well, they were looking at the schools, too.
Looking at the gearing and then the subdivision and then the uptick in Magna. So is the traffic study going to be able to predict future traffic?
I don't know. Chief, have you been involved in any traffic studies? Could you lay some knowledge on us?
I don't have the schooling traffic engineers do, but they take a traffic count, speeds, low speeds, high speeds, times, and then they put this formula together and decide if the speed needs to go up or speed needs to go down. I don't think they go below 25, but they could go up to 30, they could go to 35, depending on the amount of cars and the average speeds.
And that's a recommendation?
And, well, I think once the engineers say it needs to be done, I don't know what the liability is if you don't.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I don't know. That I don't know.
So the traffic study's based is to find out if we can just increase speeds to allow for more traffic to go through there since the school would no longer be there, or what's the intent behind the study, I guess?
That's a great question. Mike, do you have any indication what the intent was?
Foot traffic was a concern, too, because they look at that also, because with the school changing and that type of thing.
Yeah, the
and then
middle
with
school's going to be going to high school there.
all the activity going up range, we just felt it was necessary because we haven't done it.
Thank you. Attorney Down, that was a good point, unless I heard that correctly.
They'll also evaluate traffic control devices, currently stop signs on Kearney, and whether or not it warrants traffic signals.
Signal versus stop signs?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Chief.
Gearing going to be in operation for another year?
Yes.
So would it be wise to bring a traffic study in there to possibly raise the speed limit?
I mean, it's still going to be a school zone.
School
right?
zone, so that'll still be 25,
So,
right?
I mean, you can have a school zone on a state highway, and
Right.
during school, it goes to that time.
Still going to be 25 at Gearing.
Yeah.
Okay.
School closes.
Where does the funding come from for that?
Planning Commission.
Planning Commission?
It'll come out at the end.
Okay.
Yes.
And do we want to increase the speed on Kearney? Is that something, because are we, attorney, are we obligated to increase the speed? I remember once they said, don't do a traffic study on M29, because the state will say, everybody's going 55 through town, so you just got to
Well, that's what
put it at
happened.
55 in town.
Right, and that's the state's prerogative as a trunk line. I'm not sure about the Kearney's, what the authority is on Kearney. Is that a local road? I think it would come back to council.
Okay. I'm not in favor of raising the speed limit on that road at this point, personally.
We've got the school, the parks.
Yeah, slow people down through town. It's a residential area.
For sure.
It's a busy road, but it's residential. That's my 2 cents.
And if we do this, I don't see the problem with it waiting a year to do it if we want to do it then, because a lot is going to change in a year when that school's no longer there. I mean, there's other things coming. I'm not saying there's going to be less or more traffic, but the style of traffic is changing. As Magna puts more workers on.
I think kind of that's what the intent was behind the traffic study, was the development of gearing, the subdivision, condos, Magna. None of that's in right now.
Yeah. No. You guys, everybody's on the right track here. So just breezing through the Planning Commission notes. So Rob Drew was at the meeting, and they're asking about the development, what's going on, and so the dialogue Mr. Wade, Mr. McCartney, and Mr. Kinsfater are posing the questions. What is this going to be? What are you planning on putting in there? What kind of impact to Kearney are you going to have? And and here's Mr. Kinsfater saying, hey, just listening, it sounds like you are not absolute in what you're going to be doing there. My biggest concern is traffic on Kearney Drive.
Right.
Okay? And so we have a lot of projects going on, and at what point do we do a traffic study on Kearney Drive to address the building that is taking place right now? So I think what's happening is, I think during the Planning Commission, we're hearing a Planning Commission member say, hey, what's going on there, and is that going to change the dynamic of the traffic? And Mr. Druick saying, I don't know. And so the Planning Commission is coming back and said, maybe we should get a traffic study done. No, Mr. McCartney is saying, I think that the traffic for what is going on is going to be doing may produce less traffic, but who knows? So however, what I would ask is that we pass on to council that a traffic study should be done. So I think the intent of that question was because Mr. Druick at that time couldn't describe what was going to be happening with that traffic, is that, well, let's put it to a study, let's run scenarios, let's see what would happen, and then right after that, Mr. Kinsfire says, I think the traffic has changed a lot in the last 5 years. The patterns are going to change quite a bit. So he's anticipating the change, and that's where Mr. McCartney comes back and says, you know what? The change is going to happen. We recommend at this point that we get a traffic study done. That's when Mr. Kinsfire made a motion to direct the council for a traffic study. And it was supported by Ms. Boda.
I'm in favor of getting more information. I'm not in favor of being obligated to do something that it reports, I guess is my position.
Being strong-handed into changing something.
Correct. That's my only concern.
And are we, Aaron's point is, are we a year premature?
That's the other thing.
Because
I thought about
two
that
things
today.
coming up and one thing going down in
Yes.
a year. So
I mean, Gary could
everything's
fall
gonna be based
through,
on.
Gary could fall through the cracks and not even happen.
Yeah, and I guess my question would be, you're gonna base the traffic study on what? On what scenario? On what different uses, multiple uses, a specific usage?
All theoretical
Right, exactly.
Because you have three different versions of theories that's running on top of reality. So
And then the recommendation comes, okay, so it's based on this, this, and this, you should do X, Y, and Z, but those are all
And if
hypotheticals.
those
There's
don't
no
happen.
user identified then to say,
Right.
okay, based on this user, what can we anticipate
Right.
for traffic?
yeah,
Am I right
seems premature.
to assume that MDOT's the one that does the study?
I think you can hire them out to civil engineer groups that would, the third party, and I think
County road does them too.
county does it, road commission does it?
Can we find out exactly what it entails?
Yeah, I would like to learn it too. I don't know
Right.
all the ins and outs of it. I'd like to figure out what's
Yeah, I'd
going
like to know what it would entail now, and if it makes sense to do it now, or to wait to see a future development. Would probably play a better part and then do the traffic study.
Forgive me for, I've mentioned Ms. Boda's name now like 3 or 4 times. Are we missing anything here in the discussion?
No, I'm not going to.
Okay. Oh, I didn't mean to put you on the spot, Ms. Boda. I just didn't want to miss something that we were missing.
No, we just thought, I thought that we should do it after Gearing closes because we don't know what might go in there.
That's exactly what it is.
They were just butch things that because there's the new.
Can you come up here for us, please? Because people,
you can hear
people,
me.
please, please.
You're doing great. Sorry, Nancy. I didn't mean to make you do this. I'm sorry, Ms.
But
Boda.
that's all right. No. But Butch thought that we should do it now, but when Gary, because he was complaining about all the cars parked along Kearney when it's school's in session and kids are getting picked up and everything. But that's going to change in a year, and the houses that are being developed now, how do we know they're all going to be sold? So, and then it's only that little part. I mean, maybe there's the part where they imagine the Nation Station is right here by City Hall too, or even by Neiman's and everything. I mean, maybe it should be the whole thing, but he just thought it should be from Clinton to Vine. Just do that part of Kearney for a traffic study.
Oh.
I don't know. That's was Butch's feeling.
If it's okay with the count, thank you, Ms. Boda. I appreciate
you're
that.
welcome.
If it's okay with council, I would like to go on the deep dive and let me track down the details about what was the intent and then what that all entails. And I can go that route. Frank's got something to say.
Do we need to table that, or just direct you to,
So hold on one second, Frank, please. Are we going to make a motion to table this?
do we have to table it, or?
No, he's just gonna do the work, aren't you, Quentin?
I'm gonna come back with a recommendation.
Come up with a proposal or something, yeah.
Okay,
I don't think you should table it because then you have to bring it back. So
just let it,
do you want a motion to approve it and then deny it?
It probably should be a
Tim,
motion.
That's probably the best way to go. Make a motion to
you
vote.
said
on
motion
it.
to table?
No, a table?
I'd say bring it off the table once the work's done. I would probably vote, or suggest a motion to table.
Motion to table. Motion to table?
I'll make that motion.
Worded.
All right, so the motion's been made, supported. Questions?
Just real quickly, Frank Kleiss, 1104 Clinton Avenue. Nobody's brought up the fact of all the apartments that are being built at the corner of Brown and Kearney. That's all traffic that's going to be going down Kearney also. So you might want to wait till after all that's done to do the study. But
Any other questions? Bill?
Bill Claimant, 1374 South Riverside. Was this all brought on by the development on Kearney Drive? Obviously, if it come from the planning commission, it's a concern with the development that's going on Kearney. Would that be safe to say?
I would think that everything that's going on out there is probably what prompted them to initiate this.
Then my question is, who's going to absorb the cost? The developers that are creating this problem? Through their escrow that they put up?
I think it's our responsibility.
I mean, I wouldn't pinpoint it on one person on that road. There's how many houses coming in across the street that are also
Well, that's why I said developers, as in Pearl, not just one. There's 3 developers coming there. My question is, who's going to pay for it? And they all have to put escrows in for engineering and other things for the city, correct, Quentin?
Yeah,
So,
every single
you got the
project
money.
has a bond.
Why? I mean, that's my question. Who's going to pay for it if it happens?
All right, thank you, Bill. Anybody else? All right, motion's made and supported to table. Call the roll, please.
Cutler,
Yes.
Kufa,
Yes.
Laporte,
Yes.
Hall,
Yes.
Volk,
Yes.
Watt,
Yes.
Cedar.
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, thank you. D is approve the permit application for annual 4th of July fireworks display. And is that you? Or-
Yes, sir. Public Act 256 of 2011 requires approval from the local legislative body for public displays of fireworks. And even though the city of St. Clair is the applicant, it's still required to approve the permit. All the paperwork and necessary documents are complete, and approval is recommended.
So moved.
Supported.
Questions?
That was easy.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Sorry, chief.
Thank you.
That was easy.
D, extend 4th of July vendor hours.
Yes, on the 4th of July, the city permits several vendors with carnival-type treats, and our current ordinance allows for sales 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. It's requested to extend the vendor hours on the 4th of July during the fireworks display from 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. or the end of the fireworks show, whichever comes first.
I'll make that motion.
Supported.
Any questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Go ahead.
I just have a question about vendors specifically. I know that if it's the fireworks or it's the boat races or whatever, they sign up to the city, right? And they get a vendor's license?
Correct.
What happens just on a regular day of the week? A vendor decides if it's selling food or selling hats or selling sunglasses. Can they do that in the city of St. Clair
Well,
without
they-
a permit?
No, they have to have a permit, and circumstances vary, so I can't give a general statement. There are approvals needed for private property, there's different rules for permitting, but any outside sales require a permit.
So the process is they come to you, or?
Yes, they come to me, and then with the police department, we go through the approval process.
Gotcha.
Yes,
Anybody else? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
thank you.
Number 9 is claims and accounts for June 7, June 12, 2024.
Hearing nothing, Your Honor, I make motion to approve as presented.
Or questions?
Is this public question?
Not yet, we're almost there. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? All right, thank you. Now we'll go to number 10, public questions. Anybody have any non-agenda, 3-minute limit, please?
Frank Gleis, 1104 Clinton Avenue. Recently, we just signed, I guess, with our waste contractor. And I've heard different stories. What I remember you saying, Quentin, was that we have garbage pickup every week and recyclables every 2 weeks. What about lawn? Was that every week or is that every 2 weeks?
The grass clippings and whatnot can actually be set outside on regular pickup days, and there shouldn't be the
They've been picking it up. So
I was going to say that
yeah.
there's no change in service.
Okay.
What I was talking about before was there was a lot of questions when they started going to these rolling carts when they deploy those, and they have not yet given me a date. So I think they're
That's
probably
my next question. Yeah.
That's what I mean. I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
So there's two options. There's a 96-gallon rollaway and a 64-gallon rollaway. And the question was, well, what happens on big spring cleanout days? What happens on days where those items can't fit into the container? And Waste Management knows those things are going to happen, and so any of those trash bags are set alongside those cans will also be picked up.
Gotcha.
Okay, during that time. But they haven't rolled those out or deployed those
We
systems
can't
yet.
order them yet or anything?
Nope, that's, and the option out there, not even is out there yet for a 96 or 64, but as of right now, for pickup, refuge,
Yeah,
clippings.
they've been picking up normal. I just didn't know if that was because we haven't started the new contract yet or not. so
Business
that's
as
why.
usual, Frank, until further notice on
Thank
that.
you very much.
You're
And
welcome.
we won't do intermittent recycling until after those
After.
containers are
Correct.
deployed? Okay.
Correct. It's business as usual until the deployment.
Any other public comment?
Tom Bisconnor, 1314 Adams Street. I know, you've seen me here before, and I'm going to complain about the same thing again. Adams Street is a dead-end street, correct? Yes, it is. Okay, now you have private property that goes up past Adams Street where the city ends. That's private property. Why is Gearing still open to let people come through out of Gearing, come down to Adams Street? We talked about that before. You put the posts in, you took them out, you put them back in again. Now they're back out again.
And those are, Mr. Biscone, those posts are going back in.
They are going back in.
They are going back in.
Yes. Who owns that property there where Adams Street ends at the last house? That's city property. Gallishes used to own that house. Who owns that property right there now, that single drive that goes up there? Does anybody know?
I don't know.
So everybody's cutting through there trespassing on somebody's property that we don't even know who owns it. You know, it's kind of crazy. And people are speeding up and down the road, you know, and they don't even stop at the railroad tracks half the time. They, you know, it's dangerous. I got a grandkid that goes to Gearing, and she has to walk that single driveway there with no sidewalks, no streetlights, nothing. And people are, you guys need to do something about that. I'm tired of it. I've been here before, and I've complained, and nothing's really been done.
The posts are going back up?
Posts are going back up.
All right.
Thanks, Tom.
Thank you.
Yep. Anybody else?
Bill Claimer, 1374 South Riverside. Can you give us an update on Gulf Street, when they think it's going to be completed?
Oh, yes, Gulf Street, they're working on the tie-ins right now off of Harriet and Laura. They actually should, what they had found, this is kind of interesting, I didn't know this. Years and years and years ago, there was a valve sitting on the corner right near Riverside and Harriet, and when they had tied in the new system, whoever was doing the work at the time did not tie the valve in. So we're going, they open up the ground, they look at the shutoff, and they're going, this goes to nowhere. There's a disconnect, it was capped. And so we looked at it and we said, okay, we've got to make this right. The hole's open, we need to make this right, because there should be one continuous loop throughout. There should be no dead end next to a valve that's 4 feet away underground. So we said, stop, make that right. So they're working on that right now. They're going to be in and out here in the next 2 weeks. However, after they get the mains in, the valves are going in, pavement's going to be retouched. We still need to do restoration on work. They still need to do approaches. They still need to make sure the sidewalks are repaired, anything that was damaged taken out of there. So there's punch lists to happen. So, all things considered, probably a couple weeks. I could drill down on a hard date for you, Bill, but I just know they're a couple weeks out because they have to do restoration, and I know they haven't, started touching on that yet. I just want, I'm gonna say, because I had the meeting with the company on last Thursday. We sat right on the job site and we eyeballed everything. They had to shut it down because of that separation of the line with that valve next to it. So it may just be as simple as making sure they have the right parts to install and getting that taken care of. But weather nice like this, there'd be no other reason for them not to be working and knocking this thing out. But no, I can drill down on a real date for you and get it to you. No problem. You're welcome.
Lady, what's up?
Paulette Campbell, and we live at 804 Clinton. And I'm here, first of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Bishop. I had to call him last week to take care of a problem. We have an overflow of all the gravel coming out of Silk's Flowers. We live next door to him, and or her, whoever's in there now. All the gravel comes out of the parking lot and comes on the sidewalk, which is really bad right now with all the heavy rains, and it's causing a hazard with the bike path. It didn't cause one too much before, but because of the bike path, that gravel, and it's the big size gravel, it's coming out on there, and some young kid or us older people going out there walking or the bikes or whatever, you're gonna hit the gravel the wrong way out there and somebody's gonna get hurt. And I had a concern about that, and I still have a concern about that. So that needs to be addressed there. Now, he did take care of it, and the city came out, and cleaned up the gravel that day, but somebody's gotta keep an eye on that. My next concern is the beautification of Clinton Avenue and our new lawn that we have because of the, I don't know what to say. I'm not gonna call it a lawn after, it's weeds that we put in, that were put in because of the bike path. They put in, we had lawn before this happened, but if you go down there, anybody can go down there and see, this isn't a beautiful bike path anymore. It was sprayed, it's all weeds. It's disgusting. It is totally disgusting that we now have weeds where we did have lawn. Anybody on that street will tell you that. It's a shame that we now have that on our properties. That has to be addressed. And then one other big problem is, because we live on, the corner of 8th there, nobody has addressed the pipes sticking out of the ground yet we live right on the corner there of 8th. The pipes, the water pipes and everything that are sticking out, and they stick out pretty far. This is another injury that you can see happening too, with kids or adults or whoever falling and landing on those pipes. I hate to be a naysayer or whatever, but that's a big concern there. There's no curbs or anything out there yet at the end of our street and then across the street at McDonald's house. We don't have curbs or anything there yet. There's nothing there. They just stopped. We have nothing. There's been no work done at both of our houses there. Nothing. Kept saying, oh, we'll get to it, we'll get to it. Well, nobody's gotten to our 2 houses yet. And this has been, what, a year and a half, a year and a third, whatever you want to call it. Something's got to be done now with this project. Because we're what do we do?
Yeah.
It looks terrible.
Yeah, Ms. Campbell, we have a plan. If you give me a second, I'm gonna outline the plan for those 2 issues that you had, okay? Well, actually the 3 issues. We're gonna start with the gravel. We are absolutely gonna keep that path clean from the gravel, and we'll have a conversation with Silks about how we can bring that gravel higher up into the driveway, because inevitably, whatever's in that driveway and somebody drives out, they're bringing some substance with them, some material with them. But we're gonna ask that the larger gravel that's pushed back as far as possible. DPW's been notified, and we have 2 young helpers that are phenomenal, and part of their job is, you drive by Clinton Avenue, make sure you have a shovel and a broom in the back of your truck, and if there's anything right there that we can clear off, we will, because we do think it's a safety issue. But we are going to be addressing the gravel and trying to get that gravel pushed back up as much as we can. But we need Silk's cooperation as well, because it is private property, and so it needs to be a team effort on that part. The second thing is the water pipe sticking out of the ground. I'm going to have DPW go over there, take an eyeball on it, make sure we know exactly what we're looking at, and we'll get some type of resolution for it. That we can do. The third thing I want to mention is the restoration. I'm completely dissatisfied with the restoration that has occurred. It has gotten to the point now that we've actually made a claim against the restoration company. We've called MDOT, and we've said MDOT, and I'd like to, if it's okay, this is the correspondence, and because we've heard this, and I believe when we were on the phone, was it last week we were on the phone? Maybe the week before? When we were having when we were on the phone and having the conversation about the weeds and the rest, what are we going to do about it? Okay, so I followed that phone call up with the civil engineers, and we called MDOT, and we said, what is the deal? Okay, what are we going to be doing now? So the civil engineer came back, MDOT responded to them, They have given the restoration company that is in contract with Body, that is a subcontractor, they've supplied them with a 5-day notice to work on that project, or they will be removed from the project, and we will be able to go out and hire our own to get it done. Because what has happened is, they have in their contract a date to say that the job will be completed. Well, they missed that deadline to get in the restoration when the concrete went in the first time. And if they'd have put it in correctly the first time when the path went down, we wouldn't be having weeds right now, we'd be having grass. But they waited for it because the contract stipulates that they are allowed to complete the job at a certain day, regardless of what happens in between. We said that is unacceptable, because now what you've left us with is a bigger problem, as if you would have addressed the problem to begin with. So they, MDOT and the civil engineers, have reached out, and here they have, there has been some discussion and now enough evidence at MDOT regarding the lack of work being completed by the restoration subcontractor. I'm not going to name them and throw them under the bus, but they have now a 5-day notice to carry on with restoration, or another DBE approved restoration contractor will come in to complete the work. Body Construction has provided the said contractor with the notice, and they are in contact with other restoration contractors if they do not perform the work. We take it seriously. We take it seriously, and we do not want weeds in front of your home. We don't want weeds in front of anybody's home on Clinton because of a contractor's lack of effort and work. So I heard the call. We heard exactly what you said. We put the call in, and we're moving forward now with finding somebody new if they can't make good on their own deal.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Because it looks
It's
terrible. I mean,
unacceptable.
Our properties look terrible
It's
there.
exactly right. It's unacceptable.
Thank you, Paulette.
Can I give you one more thing?
We're rolling now, Ms. Campbell, so, okay.
I'm on a roll. You're doing a study with the cars and everything? Can somebody please do a study with these trucks going down Clinton? These are, I mean, I know when we moved in, this wasn't a truck street. Clinton wasn't a truck street. They went down.
Over.
Yeah, they used to go down that street, and then, I'm sorry, Mitch, come out by Murphy's. But, you know, they're in front of our house. Our house is over 100 years old. Somebody's got to come and sit in this house when these trucks go by. Do you know what our house is like inside? You know, it's like an earthquake going on inside. Nobody makes a study for that. It's ridiculous. And they aren't going 10, 15, 20 miles an hour either, because they're either coming down the hill, because we're at the bottom of the hill there. They're coming, do a study. Let's do a speed study there. You're gonna find, I know I'm on a roll, and I apologize, but I've never said anything about these trucks. But since I'm up here, I'm gonna take over my time, and I apologize.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to ask you to stop, and I know I'm not gonna make any friends doing that, but you're a little over your 4
I know,
minutes.
I'm
actually.
sorry.
But thank you, Paul. We appreciate it. I see the chief sitting there, he's listening.
I second the motion. Good job.
Melissa Kleiss, 1104 Clinton Avenue. Mr. Bishop, I missed the last meeting, but I did watch it on YouTube, because that's what I go to. And I did see that you did address the issue with the middle school, and had talked, the old middle school, and talked to a management company
Yes.
about mowing the lawn. I don't know if you went out there and have checked the property since, and I don't mean to say it like this, but if it was a management company that I had hired, I'd fire them, because it's got to be one of the worst jobs I've seen. Yes, they mowed the lawn, but it's like a hit and miss operation. It is dead grass all over. Around the trees still sits pretty high, and along the building in spots. But the concern I have is, I don't know the gentleman, and I don't know if it's his wife or daughter, who is handicapped. But the main approach, which it should be handicap accessible to get up onto the sidewalk, he had gotten stuck. Could not get her up the sidewalk or down the sidewalk, because the weeds still all along the sidewalks and where the parking spots are that bad still in those locations.
Thank you.
And it just makes it look very rundown. It just makes it look really bad. You know, whether it's has anybody in it or not in it. You know, it just makes the city look bad. That was the first issue that I had. Second issue, I guess it addresses to the chief for the 4th of July. We have the apartments next to us, and most of the time...
Excuse me, could you address us, and if we have to bring the chief up?
Most of the time, we don't have an issue with the apartments. There's been a rare occasion. But the 4th of July, although it says alcohol is not supposed to go past certain limits, it does. I know this for a fact because I've seen it, and we've had fights out in the front and in front of the apartments. Is there any way that we can somehow get some police presence a little bit beyond just downtown on the 4th of July?
Thank you.
Because I think the homeowners along, since we're the main drag, as we're told, in and out, might appreciate that because they seem to like coming down back and forth at that time, and it's been a big issue the past couple years. I do know that, you know. And the last issue that I have is along Clinton with the bike path now, the side streets, 9th, 10th. I heard Mr. Paul address 3rd Street as being an issue, turning onto it. It's not the only issue. 4th Street's an issue. 9th Street's an issue where Silks is, where they park. 10th Street, the stop sign is really far back. So far back that I don't understand why, because you can't see any of the street at all. That's how far back it sits. So when the bike path does get done, are we addressing any of that to bring them back up to where you should actually be able to stop and then have to creep up a little bit? Because, I mean, some of them are really far back. You know, I mean, the parking's bad enough. I do agree with you with that. But, you know, what are you going to do? Because there's parking in front of Silks, too. You can't make the businesses move. They're parking. So, I mean, is there something as far as stop signs where we can move them up appropriately with the bike path?
We can have our police
Go on
department
10th
look at
Street,
that,
you'll see what
yeah.
I'm talking about, you know, with it, so.
Chief's taking a note right now.
Right,
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else?
It's one of the worst ones, 7th Street.
Good evening, folks. I'm Robert Felix. I'm running for St. Clair County Commissioner in District 5, which includes the city of St. Clair. I wanted to come to this meeting tonight to introduce myself to the City Council and talk about something dear to all of us, the city of St. Clair. I live in Kimball Township, 870 Sturtevant. I didn't say that in the beginning. I apologize. I've lived there for 35 years. I first visited St. Clair 60 years ago with my dad. Used to bring me up from Detroit for a day of fishing along the river. Don't remember if we caught a lot of fish, but I do remember we had a great time. Later, as a young engineer, I spent quite a few days doing work at the St. Clair Edison plant. Many years later, my wife and I brought our children to play at Imagination Station and then to picnic and fish along the river. It was always a nice, quiet, safe place to visit, and we loved it, and I suspect many others did too. I want to congratulate you on your $700,000 grant and the development that's taking place. My concern is that it is done correctly, and let me explain. The city of St. Clair, like most things, has changed a lot since I was a young man. Now people in new businesses have cropped up with concerts, Metro Detroit type activity. It has brought some a lot of money and brought desirable and undesirable change to St. Clair. You've heard some of the residents speak about extra traffic, rumbling trucks, problems with drunks and fights. You know, one of the things I've enjoyed the most while I've been campaigning is meeting people in my district as my wife and I have walked door to door. We visited over 1,000 homes so far in the city of St. Clair and talked to hundreds of people. I found the same things here in St. Clair that I found in other districts. There's always somewhat of a disconnect between the residents and the leaders in the area. Residents close to the plaza complain of loud music until once was a quiet night, as well as other grievances, traffic, some of the development, etc. I'm reminded of a quote I know that I'd like to share. A community is never lost all at once. It fades away in little pieces over time, never to return. I don't have answers to this for the city leaders, but I would ask you to consider this. A city like St. Clair gets its unique character and desirability from things only it can offer. If duplicating the bars, business, and establishments like what exists in Macomb County is the direction that continues, don't expect to draw people to your town because of its uniqueness. Don't expect your quality of life to improve. Whatever pathway forward the city of St. Clair follows, I look forward to visiting for many more years. And when I am elected, I look forward to serving all the people of the city as your county commissioner. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert.
And if I may, just another short thing, 2 of your business items. In my work as an engineer, I've typically found what you're looking for with assessor, sir, is that they do billable hours versus flat rate. Sounds like you're being charged flat rate. A lot of firms and some county assessment units will do billable hours. If you have a lot of mature properties in your area, that may work out in your advantage. So you may want to pursue that. Second, traffic study. I'm a retired engineer. I have 35 years in various industries. If you have an opportunity to get a traffic study along a non-trunk line, take it, because a baseline study now will indicate what the flow is like. They'll typically look at speed, they'll look at volumes, time of day, they'll look at where stop signs are, and they'll look at not a speed improvement, but a flow improvement by regulating where stop signs and or traffic devices are located. Then as your development occurs, you can look at what adjustments need to be made, because you're going to have some bottleneck issues. Trucks trying to get from A to B, and going through Kearney, other areas of your city. So I'd just like to pass that along from my experience. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Robert. Good luck. Any other public comment tonight? We'll go to number 11. I have a couple quick things. Certainly everybody pay attention to the heat and watch your neighbors, especially the elderly. Palmer Park Arch dedication, June 23rd, this Saturday at 1 o'clock. And last but not least, certainly not least, one of our employees, Kevin Markle's father, passed away, Larry. So we keep Kevin Markle and his family in our thoughts and our prayers. Anybody else have anything? I'm going to go to number 12 and ask for a motion to go into closed session to discuss strategy connected with the negotiation of collective bargaining agreement with the employee represented by AFSCME.
So moved.
Support.
Any questions? Call the roll, please.
Pufa?
Yeah.
Laporte?
Yes.
Paul?
Yes.
Wolf?
Yes.
Watt?
Yes.
Stotler?
Yes.
Cedar?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. You are welcome to wait out in the lobby, and we'll get you back in here when the closed session's over. We probably won't take any action, but you're certainly welcome to come back. But I'm asking now to vacate the premises so we can get our closed session going.